Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all my blessed beloveds out there in video land. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and I'm Rusty. Today is one of our last days for the show. Can you believe that? We have gone through 180 interviews-ish, give or take. I'll have to count it again. But it's been a wild ride, and we've met so many amazing people. And I thank you so much for the support. I thank you for sharing with your friends, your families, your neighbors, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, their neighbors, and the mail person. I do. I appreciate that, because the more we do for each other, the better this place will actually be. I am looking forward to our next guest. Coach Al.
Hello.
Are you out there? Hi, my friend.
How are you?
Living the dream. How are you?
Very good. Now
Here you are.
Yes.
So we had some confusion this morning on the scheduling, so I apologize. I've had you on for 2:30 for a while, and I'm like, what?
Yes, don't worry. That happens sometimes.
It does happen. So, Coach Al, where are you located geographically? What state or country?
It's in McDonough, Georgia.
Oh, you're my neighbor. Hi, neighbor.
Hey.
I'm in southern Florida.
Oh, in Florida.
Yeah, only a few hours away.
Yeah, beautiful Florida. Always weather, nice weather.
Not today. We're having that tumultuous, maybe it's going to hurricane, maybe not. I live on the ocean, so.
Oh, and then the wind hit very far.
Hit very hard.
Yeah.
So, Coach Al, who are you? What do you do, and what makes you you?
Well, I do hypnotherapy. Yeah, I born with ADD, obesity, and then I start to grow up with a lot of traumas. And when I get into the 15 years old, I get so tired to be rejected for the people and to be fat. And I found a person who started to teach me how to control my mind. Because they said it's not the people who make you suffer, it's yourself. And then that man called Zovek, he started to teach me how to concentrate my attention, my breathing. It was my first lesson. And then I started to do sports. I started to do track and field. Later, I get injured, and I started to do gymnastics. I've been coaching gymnastics for almost 4 years, and I coach two Olympians and 5 world championships.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very exciting because it takes years of working and mental preparation to get into the mind of the kids until they grow up, change hormones, change dimensions, and then they start to compete. And I start to study everything about the mind. And I start to see, I went to Russia. In Russia, they teach me hypnosis as a therapy. It's clinical therapy, not for shows. And then I start to be in charge of the mental blocks of the national team, and was very, very successful because even with translation, because my Russian is really bad, I start to have success. And I start to notice in hypnosis or any therapy, what really cures you, what really connects with you is not the words you says, is the frequencies of your subconscious mind. And this is why I started to study. I started to study how the mind works, why that works. And I have another experience. When I was a kid, my brother was autistic. And then I started to see all the struggles he has, even to talk, to eat, to do everything. And he grew and no communication. And then I started to teach him a little bit of things, but I couldn't do too much. When I grow up and I get married, my first son suffered the same. And then when he born, it looks normal, like every kid. 2 years old, they're supposed to be talking, but what's the first word? We don't know. And then he don't talk. He just say some words. And then by 4 years old, he get the diagnostic as an autistic kid. And then I start to think, well, must be something wrong. I born with all that problems, my brother born with all that problems, and my son now has the same problems. And I was thinking, can be genetic, can be something else. And I started to find out what means autistic, what means autism. And I started to discover what is autism. Autism is like imagine that you get a new computer, and before you put any programs, get a virus. And then you can download any programs.
I think that is the best description of autism I've heard in a really long time. I love it.
Wow, this is what I've seen. And then what do you do to put programs in the computer? You insist, will be rejected. I noticed when my son was rejected, they don't know how to communicate. And the other problem is when the two parts of the brain are communicating each other is what creates your consciousness. And then I noticed that they don't have any consciousness. And then I was start to think, maybe it's the connection between the two hemispheres who is not clicking. They don't have the nerve system to connect it or something. And I started to investigate more. One day in the park, I tossed a ball just to hit him, just to play games with him, but I feel bad because he was distracted. And then I screamed to him, he turned his face, and with no even hesitating, just put his hand and catch it. I was thinking, wow, he cannot catch even from me to him right here, face to face. And then why he catch it? And overnight, I started to think, what happened right there? And I started to notice one thing. When the kids try to get everything towards the conscious mind, they cannot do it because the two hemispheres has different codes and colors, because the subconscious mind has no words, not even one word. It's just codes, symbols, and colors. But they have the different ones. And then I said, wow, how can I change that? How can I start to influence the communication between the two hemispheres? And I started to create one thing I call NeuroFitnastics. It's 300 exercises. One at a time, just repeat it for 2 days, and then the other exercise. Then repeat it. Very simple, the first ones. And then when we have 5, you do a routine. And then the routine connecting all the 5. I noticed that because in gymnastics, I coach the gymnast, and then every gymnast need to have neural pathways in the brain in order to do all those flips. Because it's the training plus all the fears involved. And then as more familiar are with the movement, less fear and more control. And then I start to notice in my son how he started to connect the exercises, how he started to do the training. And in less than 3 months, he started to say words. When he was 6 years old, only 3 words he was saying. The certificate they gave me, they said he never will speak more than 2 words to connected together in his entire life. And now he speaks 5 languages. He traveled all over the world by himself, and he do everything by himself.
He speaks 5 languages because you were smart enough to layer his exercises and connect the pieces. Good for you, Dad. High five.
Well, the discipline he has tons of discipline. He really tried to do everything straight, everything correct. And I always noticed ADDs or ADHDs, autism kids, they're genius in something. Always in something, but we need to discover in what they are genius and explode that, because we try to make them get into the mold of everybody, and then they are not like everybody. they have the special abilities, and we don't accept that. He said, you need to be normal. They were telling me that to me. When I was a kid, they don't exist the word ADHD. They said, you're stupid and you don't learn. I don't know why. And then I said,
that was the generation though. I mean,
yep.
I'm pretty stupid and worthless too. And unfortunately, it was just bad parenting. Like they were raised to say things like that, and they raised us to feel like that. But I think we learned not to repeat those behaviors.
Yes. And usually it's the society too. The parenting, they don't know better because they just get a not very smart kid and they just push them to learn like the others, but nothing happened. And then I started to notice what is the patterns the society has. And I started to notice what happened when all the kids. In gymnastics, I noticed the first kid of every family, if I have a gymnast, the first kid is full of fears. And the second kid or the last kid, they have no problems to do all those flips and everything. And I was thinking, why? What is that phenomenon? Then the first kid always is, in gymnastics, we call it a chicken. They are afraid of everything. I discovered one thing. When the moms get the first kid, they are overprotected. They protect them for everything. They don't want nothing to happen to their baby. And then what the baby learn? Then everything is dangerous for them. And this is exactly what happened when they grow up. I think this is one of the patterns I need to change in the subconscious mind, because the paradigm is all the programs we have. And the kid need to learn new behaviors, new beliefs. Because I discovered another thing. What we learn is not what we hear, what the people tell you, what the media tell you. What you learn is your assumptions, what you assume they are telling you. This is the only thing who get into your subconscious mind. Not what they tell you. You can tell one person all the best words in the world, and they don't get it. And why they don't get it? Because they don't assume it's real. They don't assume it's the truth or is what they need to one believe. And I do my life like that. I keep going, learning more. Every day I learn something new. And I born in the 50s. And in those years, we don't have technology. I have one of the kids in gymnastics, they asked me, when do you have your first phone? Your cell phone? And I said, when I was 50. He said, why? Because my mom took it away from me and I behaved really bad. And then she gave me back my phone at 50. And they believe me. Wow, because you need to behave better.
Yeah, no, back then, if you were lucky if you had a TV, you were lucky if you had a phone. And when I was, in the 80s, our phones were still connected to the wall, and it was like 10 cents a minute to have a conversation. And boy, did I get my butt whooped many times for doing over those minutes.
Yeah, and the technology was very basic. Mm-hmm. We was playing games with rocks, with a little piece of wood, and we was imagining it was a car. Mm-hmm. And then the new generations has zero imagination. And then I started to create a program for kids who has ADD, ADHD, kids who has autism, based on my program of the 300 exercises.
I love it. Where do we find more information about you, Coach Al?
Yes, I will let everybody know how they can get that, because it's a lot of work. It's 10 minutes a day. You want to do more, it's more, but usually it's 10 minutes. Even for one adult, we have a lot of limited beliefs internally, and we think we can succeed in something, but the program, internal program, says no, you can't. And then this is what happened. You try to do things, but the internal program says you can't. And it's like I put the gas and the brake at the same time. I learned another lesson when I was almost in the 17 years old. I went to visit my grandparents in a small town because my family was from Spain. And then it's a very beautiful countries. And then I was walking over there, and then my family says, let's go to the river and go to jump from the bridge. Okay. And then from the house to the river was not too far. You can see the house and the river. And then we start to walk and walk and walk and walk up river until we get into the bridge. It takes like an hour walking. And then I jump, I get into the bridge, and I jump with everybody. But in the moment the current starts to make you flip and flip and flip, I get disoriented. I have no idea where was left or right or what the house was. And I get very far away, but in the other side. And then I get out. I said, well, at least I survived. I'm happy because I am alive. And I started to walk back to the house. Imagine believing that the house wasn't that side. Then I started to walk and walk and walk and walk. When finally I see the house, I said, well, now the river is in the middle. And I see one person on the other side. And that means he was looking around the river. And I asked him, hey, man, how can I get into the other side? And then he started to scream to me, you are on the other side. I said, wow, very philosophic answer. But he was right. I was on the other side for him, but he was on the other side for me. And then I have two options, only two options. What can I do? Jump again into the river and try to cross and finish probably another hour down, because the river was very wide. Then swimming, the current pull you down. Or walk an hour to the bridge, cross the river, and go back another hour down. And then I make the decision to walk. And walk all the way to the bridge, cross it, come back, and then I see the man still trying to cross the river. And I learned my lesson in that moment. I was thinking, in life, you see the gold right there in front of you. But it's a river. It's a river with currents, and you cannot get into the other side. Then you need to change the course. You need to go up, cross the bridge, and go to the other side. Sometimes it's very long, and we learn in this society, everything we want to see it fast. And they don't want to wait or doing any effort. The people ask me, give me one exercise to lose weight. I say, if I know it, I will be a millionaire right now.
No kidding, right? My goodness.
It's a compound of things you need to do in order to lose weight. And everybody knows how to lose weight. The subconscious mind knows everything. The only formula is stop eating too much and move more. But they don't ask you that. But they want to ask you is, how can I do it easy?
Well, I think we've designed a society in which we're constantly looking for the easy way out, the magic pill or the magic treatment to stop doing what we need to do for growth and betterment and training. And training your mind is not easy, but we have to do it every day. And I find it really interesting that people would rather play video games or, watch tons of TV or do kind of busy work instead of learning something new or gaining a new skill or trying to enhance that big, delicious gray matter that we have that's always booming and moving. We dumped our.
And I have a case when a lady asked me the same, how can I lose weight? but fast, and just give me one pill. I say, well, that pill who, if you take it in the night, next day you will wake up like a J-Lo. It exists. But the only problem is, costs $2 million. Do you have the $2 million? Says, no. Okay, start to work to get the $2 million, and then you can buy the pill. So no, but better give me your system. And then in her mind says, well, okay, I prefer to work because to get $2 million is too much. And then we start to work. She lose more than 100 pounds.
Wow, that's awesome.
And why? Because with hypnosis is a state of focus and concentration. It's nothing from another world. It's just how you focus and concentrate in one thing. Everybody knows how to do that. Try to remember when you have friends and they need to go to the prom. They was in the best diet in their lives. They was skinny, they was in the best shape because they have in their mind a goal. I need to go to the prom and everybody needs to see me beautiful. After the prom, they forget about that and nothing happened.
I like your attitude. We need more proms is what you're saying, right? We need to have a prom every 6 months.
Goals when you will fit into the others. And then I create another system I call quantum books. Because I was thinking, what happened for that people who has no discipline, mental discipline? And then it's like a bank account for the subconscious mind. It's the only tool you can find anywhere to change the subconscious mind. And I search everywhere in the world. It exists something like that. And I don't find anything to change the subconscious mind. Why I create that? Because there is only 2 major symbols inside the subconscious mind who really respond to any emotion. One is money. If you think about money, it's big motivation. And the other one is love. Love is the strongest emotion you can feel. When you feel good, when you know how to love. And everybody knows how to hate, but very few people knows how to love. They are thinking that love is getting somebody to love you. But the main problem right there, you cannot love somebody more than you love yourself. You need to learn to love yourself first. And the other factor, you need to learn how to accept yourself, whatever who you are. We try to fit in the society and be accepted. I was in that mode for many, many years because I feel rejected for everybody until I said, getting to the point where I said, whatever, I never will make it then happy. It's better for me to start to make myself happy. And I start to be very happy. Don't listen to the critics, don't listen to that one. I discovered in these quantum books, every night, you need to have, you go to the bed, you need to go to the same time, and then you need to record all the activities you do to reach your goal and pay yourself for that. Not with real money, it's with quantum money. And you need to put 3 activities who involve love, because you need to write it down with your own hand. Because when you write with your own hand, we call automotor response. It's connected directly to the brain and to all the connections in your body. Then when you write it down, you close it and you go to sleep. And then you need to put a recording. And then you start to every time sleep better and better and better. And then the moment you fall asleep, all the ideas you have start to like a file in the correct files. Because when we go to sleep, it's the worst nightmare for everybody if they don't know how to sleep. They take forever, depends on the personality, because some people try to go to sleep early, but they don't sleep. They don't fall asleep. They are in the bed. And the red personality, because I create a book with personalities, red personality and blue personality. And then those two personalities, the red personality is the one who try to control everything, try to be very extrovert, and that kind of personality just go to sleep until no more energy left. They just go and boom, okay, I have no energy left. If they have something to do, they don't go to sleep. They go to do it because they want to have control. The blue personality on the other side, they try to get approval for everybody. And that connection of the two personalities is the real problem in our society. And then what we need to do is to re-educate the subconscious mind. Don't try to learn something and just re-educate. This is what I was doing for many years now with athletes and all kind of people. Because some people come with PTSD, doctors for 5 years working with them, and in 3 sessions, they go out. Why they go out? Because we approach the root of the problem, not the symptoms. The root of the problem is internally, in the conscious mind. We have 3 minds and three brains. The 3 minds are the conscious mind, is the way you communicate with the others, and it works in the beta state. The subconscious mind has all the others, alpha, theta, and delta. And the superconscious mind, who is in gamma. And then the subconscious mind is 93% of yourself. The conscious mind is only 7%. If you go to a psychologist, they talk to you with the logic and everything, and what happened? You accept it. Yes, you're right. And then they go home and they go to the same. Because this is the problem they have internally. When you change those programs, doesn't matter if somebody motivates you. The motivation needs to come from you. And the moment you take the action is when comes the motivation. I don't motivate people. I just encourage people to start. And when they start is when they start to get the motivation. Everybody is looking for the motivation to start. They need to start to get the motivation.
Well, and that's true with anything. You have to dig deep and do it yourself, or it just doesn't work. Nobody's going to do it for you. I'm too lazy to do things for other people.
Yes. The majority of the people, they expect help from everybody. And if everybody says, because I don't have opportunities, I have not the support, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, but this is only excuses. Because
I think and we actually have to wrap up because we're almost out of time, but
yeah, sure.
I don't like the word excuses. I think that you don't know what you don't know until you know. And
yes.
Sometimes when you feel like that and you truly believe it, maybe you haven't been influenced to change that direction. And I find that the work that I do, the work that you do, people like us, we, one person at a time, we change that direction. We help them get out of that story. But I don't think it's an excuse. I just don't think they really fully know, if that makes sense.
Yes, you're right. And I notice even when I do a trance for somebody who tell me I have this story because my dad was very abusive, this one, that one, I delete that part from their minds momentarily, just for a couple of hours, and then they wake up and they tell me another story.
Yeah.
And then I go back in trance and the same thing. I delete that part they tell me, go back and wake up, tell me why you are like that. Oh, and they tell me another story.
Yep, it's reprogramming, and that's the part that's really interesting, because we forget what a super brain power machine this thing is in between our ears, and I think sometimes we neglect it by not feeding it enough information. I think that's all our brain really wants, is to learn.
Yes, and I noticed one thing when I start to have the remote control of the first TVs. What do you have? Channel up, channel down, volume up, volume down. And that's it.
Right.
And then now you have tons of features. The brain is more complicated than those remote controls. And the only things we know is volume up, volume down, channel up, channel down, and we want to have the control. We don't know the
Yeah.
feature.
So Coach Al, this is a great time for you to tell us where we can find more information about you and how to reach you.
Well, you can go to www.kelbrain-wellness.com, and then you will see all the programs I do over there. And you can set up a consultation with me, and then I can help you to succeed in any goal you have. Nothing is impossible.
Thank you, Coach Al. You're beautiful.
Thanks so much. See you
Take
soon.
care. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty. I'm Rusty, and I get to do this as many times as I want because you know what? This is what I want to do, and this is how I train myself, and this is hopefully how you get trained too. Yes, reprogramming your mind. It is a possible, wonderful, absolutely must do because we all have a story. We all have a story. We all have obstacles. We all have ups and downs. And sometimes we need somebody to stand beside us and say, hey, it's time to do a person check. And what do you want your story to be tomorrow? Let's work on that today. And Coach Al's that kind of guy who's going to help you work on it today so that you're a better version of you tomorrow. And hypnosis, I highly recommend. I really think that's how I quit smoking many years ago. Haven't wanted one since 11 years now, 9 years, something in there. Anyway, Babylon. Know that you're loved, know that you're beautiful, and do something kind for somebody else. It's so important to smile and be gentle and be kind to your neighbor, your lawyer, your doctor, your cashier. It doesn't matter. Just be a good person on this planet because we need more people like you to spread that kindness. Until next time.